Beautiful. So if you really enjoyed the session, you can do it all again later because you can have it on the playback. See what we did there? Made that very easy for you. So taking into consideration the few people that have missed a few, that we're going to have it relatively steady tonight. If you don't mind, I'd like to start seated and then we'll work our way down to lying on our backs. So I'll move a little bit further back. I'm a little bit close to you. Come onto the mat. And I'll remind you that although cross leg is my preferred seated posture, it might not be comfortable for you. And even though today it feels okay, it might not feel okay tomorrow. So remember that you can always take the legs wide, or if you prefer, you can sit in hero pose. Find the posture that best supports you. We want to ensure that we are almost like creating a plumb line from the back of the head to the back of the tailbone. So we kind of get that sense as though we're lifting and lengthening away from the tailbone, creating space through the spine. Think about the underside of the chin parallel to the floor. And perhaps you might want to arrange the palms so that the palms are facing up towards the ceiling. This will encourage the shoulders to release back and down. Let's just take a moment to wiggle the fingers, to wiggle the toes. We should still be able to move everything. We shouldn't feel too tight or restricted. And I'm not picking on you, Max, but it's very common for men to be uncomfortable in a cross-leg position. So at any point, if you would rather come out to this position, that might make it feel better on your spine so you don't feel like you're kind of fighting to hold yourself up. So somebody mentioned the vagus nerve. So I'll tell you what, we'll do a little bit of work on that to begin with. So let's bring the index finger, middle finger up towards the edge of the jaw. And we're just going to find that little space where we tend to hold the jaw very clenched. And we're just going to almost like massage here, drawing little circles to release any tension here. You'll, or let the cat do it for you. You'll know how much pressure you need to apply. And then we'll just carry that pressure a little bit more gentle as we trace the line of the chin. As you come to the point of the chin, draw the fingers back out again towards that edge of the jaw. And again, we'll just do that little bit of rotation. Now let's rest the hands back in the insides of the thighs again, palms turned up. And I want you to now start to mobilize the jaw. So the picture that I like to conjure here is almost like a cow chewing the cud. We can't all see each other. Drawing a big circle. Beautiful. Change direction, take that circle the opposite way. And I'm going to yawn. And that's very natural because basically that's the vagus nerve saying, oh yeah, I'm awake. I know you're working me out here. And then bring the jaw to rest again in center. Now, as you come back to that centered position, let's pay attention to allowing the tongue to rest in the well of the mouth. So if you start to notice that the tongue sticks to the top of your mouth, that means that you're holding tension. So let's remain soft, released and relaxed. And if you're happy to do so, either close the eyes or soften your gaze. Bring your awareness to the breath, following the breath from the tip of the nose along the nasal passages. And just noticing the change in sensation and temperature here. Typically we notice cool air on the breath in, warm air on the breath out. Now, particularly at times when we've got a lot going on, it's not uncommon that we hold our breath within the top third of the lungs. So rather than thinking of breathing in and just holding the breath in the top of your lungs, I want you to take time to take the breath a little longer. So breathing in through the nose and breathing down. Then Full exhalation. Take a deep breath in and push down. So noticing as you breathe in that you're sending the breath a little bit lower than the chest until you find the breath inflates the belly, diaphragm lifts, and then you exhale to soften the belly, soften the chest. So let's now do a little added dimension to that. Take a breath in through the nose for a count of 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then exhale to a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we're breathing in for 4, exhaling out for 6, so slightly lengthening the exhalation. Continue at your own pace, breathing in for 4 and out for 6. Really tuning into that sensation of inhaling to fill the belly, the chest and the collarbones. Exhaling to release the collarbones, the chest and the belly last. It's almost as though those last 2 out breaths are where all the action come in the tummy. Let's take one further full breath rotation. In through the nose for 4. Exhale for 6. Then return the breath to a natural, easy rhythm. But try to keep to that discipline of breathing in and down, rather than returning to that top third of the lungs. If you've had your eyes closed, just blink the eyes open. And we're simply going to reposition the hands to hold onto the edges of the knees. Again, the shoulders remain soft, the elbows are released. On your next exhalation now, I want you to feel that action of pulling the tummy button in towards the spine, and we'll start to curve through the spine, a seated cat stretch, gently tucking the chin towards the chest. The opposite action is to use the inhalation, and as you come to inhaling into the chest, open the sternum forward and lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. So there's an exhale to curve through the spine. So again, we might want to go back to that pattern of inhaling for a count of 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhaling into the cat stretch, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So inhaling, opening the sternum forward, releasing the shoulders back and down. Then exhaling, curving through the spine, gently nodding the chin towards the chest. Return again to center, keeping the resting of the hands really soft on the knees. Now just leading the right ear down towards the right shoulder. Take care not to lift the shoulder to the ear. You might feel there's a little bit of tension there, so just work with the breath, allowing the head to soften, neck to lengthen. Inhale to lift the head back to center. As you exhale, release the head to the opposite side. We'll take a bit of time here on the opposite side again, just to notice without judgment if there's any differences between both sides. Inhale again, return to center. On the next inhalation, rather than lowering the ear, let's turn so that we're following the nose rather than the chin to take the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhale to return to center. Exhale to take the gaze over the opposite shoulder. then return once more to center. Just to give a little release to that space between the shoulder blades, take a moment to just gently nod the chin towards the chest. Allow the head to become heavy. Create a little space through the shoulder blades here. You might want to gently just trace the line of the collarbone as you slowly and very gently just roll the chin from one side to the other. On an inhale, return the head to center. On an exhale, draw the tummy button in, lift the head back up. So for those of us who've remained in a cross-legged position, let's just take a moment to switch the opposite foot in front. We're just finding a little bit of balance, working the hips ever so gently. Inhaling to squeeze the shoulders up towards the ears, exhaling a big shrug, let the shoulders go. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. On the exhale, start to roll the shoulders back and down. So this is a much slower, gentler action. Continue this action as though you're rolling circles with the shoulders. You can allow the hands to travel. Keep the elbows soft, no tension in the body. Now this feels a little bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. Let's roll the shoulders the opposite way. So we're lifting the shoulders up, carrying the shoulders forward. So just finding that little bit of space through the middle back, under the shoulder blades. Let's reverse those circles one more time. So inhale to roll the shoulders up and back. As you lower the shoulders down, feel as though you're pressing the shoulder blades together. Feel that lift in the sternum, exhaling to draw the tummy button in. Extend both arms forward. So keep that length through the spine, that engagement in the core as you press through the fingertips. So although you're pressing through the fingertips, avoid leaning forward. Try to keep the back of the head lined up with the back of the tailbone. Bring the palms together. Let's take the right forefinger over the left and draw an interlock here. Denise, I think your arms are overhead. We just need to be at chest height. That's perfect. No strain on the shoulders. On the out breath, turn the hands inside out. Keep pressing through the fingers. So again, you're going to notice here if the wrists are tight, the fingers feel tight. Just work with the breath, avoiding locking the elbows out. Inhale now to lift the arms overhead, and we work through our own range of movement. So this may be far enough. As you come to the next breath rotation, it might be that you can take the hands all the way until the palms are parallel to the ceiling. The ears lining up with the inside of the upper arms as you inhale to lengthen. Feel both sit bones equally weighted through the fore. As you exhale, squeeze to the right. Try not to lean all your body weight to the right. The intention is to lift through that side of the rib cage, then turn and tuck the chin into the left armpit. Inhale to lift, come back to center. Keep that length, that extension through the waist and the side of the rib cage. Then ease to the opposite side, turning this time to tuck the chin into the right armpit. Good rule of thumb is to try to keep the ears between the upper arms. Try to lengthen through the arms rather than bending the elbows. Then inhale to lift, come back to center. Lovely. Float the hands back down to chest level. Turn the hands inside out. We'll bring the hands now to the same interlock, but we're going to do it behind the lower back. So we stacked the right forefinger to the top last time. So let's do left forefinger to top. Draw the shoulder blades together. Most of us will have slightly leaned forward in this action. So again, imagine you've got that plumb line, almost as though you're leaning against a wall. And particularly the ladies, take care not to be sticking the chin up. Keep that chin drawn in. Beautiful. On the out breath, slide the arms away from the lower back, opening through the pectoral muscles, across the collarbones. Try not to hold the breath. As you exhale, release, separate the hands. And to give us all a break from this cross-leg position, let's take the feet wide. So in this wide leg posture, ideally we're going to leave a little gap behind the knees. We're going to feel the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. So we're kind of resting into the backs of the heels. We'll go slowly and gently here, lifting and lengthening once more out of the sit bones. So we feel almost as though we're lifting the rib cage off the belly. Then reposition the hands in front of the body. At this stage, I'm just touching fingertips to the floor. And now with every out breath, start to gently hinge the body forward. So I'll turn side on so that you can see the action I mean. The temptation in this position is to rush to get the hands forward and we end up curving through the spine. So remain lifted and lengthened. Think about the hips as a ball and socket joint. And the action is a hinge. So with every out breath, we're easing a little more deeply into this extension, inner thighs firing up. It might be that you want to take this a little deeper, in which case, rather than keep walking forward, think about bringing the elbows towards the floor. And as soon as you start to feel that compromise the shape of your spine, that's far enough for you. Leading the sternum forward, easing the forearms towards the floor. As you exhale, engage the core, walk the hands back again towards center. So same but different. Let's now bring the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees to become a little wider. And we can play about with this shape. So the closer you draw the heels in towards the groin, the more intensely you're going to feel this stretch on the inner thigh. So take it a little bit wider if that feels too much for you. Draw it a little bit closer if you want to work it a little bit deeper. Important that we let gravity release the knees. Inhale again, lengthen out of the sit bones. And then in the same hinging action, gently touching the edge of the toes as you ease the upper body forward. Try to retain that diagonal line from the back of the head to the tailbone, shoulder blades drawn together, leading with the sternum. Good. Nice. Engage the core. Inhale to lift, lift, lift. Come back to center. Beautiful. Take hold of the right foot. Now you can either hold the ankle around the foot or use index finger, middle finger around the big toe and press that heel away. So as soon as you come into this action, your body's going to kind of lean to one side. So let's correct that by remaining centered. Beautiful. Pressing through the heel. And remember, the end of the day, we're not going to get a straight leg here because our arms are shorter than our legs. So it's about just having that little bit of lift. Engage the core. Bring that foot back to center. Switch over, transition to the opposite side. See how that feels. If you're struggling a little bit with balance, because it can pull you forward, try widening the opposite arm to keep that discipline of the sternum remaining lifted, the chest open. Some of the camera angles might be not helping in this, but please check that you're not rolling back onto the tailbone. We should be lifted out of the sit bone. Good, that's better. Then as you exhale, engage the core, bring that foot back to center. I can see you all girding yourself up for the next one because you know what's coming. Both heels. So remember, the worst that's going to happen is that you roll back. In all the years I've been teaching yoga, I had one client who used to roll forward. I have no idea where that was all about. Keep pressing through the heels, lifting through the sternum. So you're really engaging the core. Beautiful. Then as you exhale, keep that core engaged as you bring the soles of the feet together. Soften the knees. Inhale to lift. Exhale, one more hinge forward. you'll have found a little bit of extra space here. Hi, Elizabeth. Then engage the core. Inhale, lift. Come back again to center. Perfect. So I'm going to get you to come onto all fours for a moment. We're kind of going to go past all fours, and we're going to repeat that shape that we just had with the knees wide. So we're taking the knees either to the edge of the mat or a little bit wider if you've got longer legs than me. Draw the soles of the feet together. Place the palms a little further forward than the shoulders. Lower the elbows towards the mat. So we've got stability for the upper body, and then press the sit bones towards the heels. So effectively, we're doing the same action we just did. We're just approaching it from a different gravitational pull. Now, it might be that you want to keep pushing and pushing until you can get the forehead to the floor. You might be quite happy feeling that the forearms are supporting the upper body, the shoulders parallel to the mat. That nice diagonal line again, from the back of the head to the tailbone. Gently apply pressure into the forearms as you shift your body weight forward. We're going to walk the feet back, lowering down onto the thighs, the belly, elbows either side of the chest, palms a little further forward than your head, shoulder blades drawn together. I think it's helpful in this posture to remember to anchor the thighs into the mat, inhaling to lift the chest, then exhaling to turn the gaze over the right shoulder. Inhaling, look forward, exhaling to take the gaze over the left shoulder. Inhale again to come forward. Then we're going to lower the whole of the body towards the mat. I'm going to get you to stack the palms one on top of the other. It doesn't actually matter if you have a dominate of the right or the left on top. Bring the forehead to rest on top of the stacked palms. Just gives enough room for your nose. Now again, we're just going to roll through the head. So we'll bring the right ear parallel to the mat. Work with the breath. Always do the effort on the out breath as you come through center. Take the opposite ear to the mat. Then bring the forehead to fully rest here. So repeating the breath technique we did earlier, we're inhaling to a count of 4, feeling the breath almost lift you off the mat. Then as you exhale, softening down, releasing for a count of 6. So breathing in and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breathing out slowly for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, lifting up. Exhaling, softening down for the count of 6. Beautiful. Do one further full breath rotation in this crocodile pose. And you come to the end of your exhalation. Take an inhalation to lift the head. Reposition the hands underneath the shoulders. So now we have the forearms, the elbows lifted from the floor. Let's direct the elbows in towards the side of the rib cage. Try to unclench the buttocks here. So we're anchoring again through the thighs, inhaling to lift the chest, keeping the core engaged and lifting the upper body. Nice. Good work. As you exhale, keep that core engagement, pressing the sit bones towards the thighs, almost as though you're sticking the palms to the mat. Ears once more between the upper arms as you encourage that length through the side of the body. opening into the sides of the rib cage, into the underarms. And we'll just encourage a little bit of flow here. So inhale, lift forward into the cobra pose. Exhale, push back into the child's pose. Inhale, lifting forward. Exhale, easing back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more length forward on the inhale. This time on the exhale, rather than going back into child's, lift yourself back up into an all fours position, this time stacking knees under hips and wrists under shoulders. Turn both toes under, exhale, draw the tummy button in, and on that lengthened exhalation, roll up through the spine, not the chin to the chest. Repeating again that cat stretch. On the inhale, curving the spine the opposite direction, following the sternum as you inhale to look ahead. Exhale, rolling up. Again, we'll come back to that neutral spine position, so no curve in the spine. Just keeping the knees under the hips, the wrists under the shoulders. So again, without the temptation of taking all your body weight to one side, isolate the hips so that we're pressing both hips over to the right, then come back to center, press both hips over to the left, come back to center. So let's be a little bit more fluid with this. So we're rocking the hips from the right to the left. For now, just maintaining a horizontal line. And then if it feels good for you, you can start to add in a little bit of sway. So we're working up towards creating a figure of 8, easing through the hips, softening the lower back. I sometimes find scooping back over the heels is helpful. You get a little bit more fluidity, more release. Then return again to center. Beautiful. Let's stay in this all fours position. Start with easy Ozy. Let's take the right arm forward. And for now, we're just going to focus on technique. So the shoulders are parallel to the floor. The forehead is parallel to the mat. We're keeping that upper arm in line with the edge of the ear. We're just creating a straight line from fingertip to the back of the hip. Beautiful. Switch that hand over, take the opposite arm forward. So we know what we're doing with the upper body. Probably helps if you just rested on the tops of the feet rather than turning the toes under. That's a bit active. Then replace that hand to the floor. Okay, let's now take right arm forward and simply step the left foot back. So we're resting on the top of the toe, we're turning the toe under. Again, it feels like a diagonal. Then engage the core. Inhale, lift that left heel. And once more, we want to try and find parallels. So the back leg parallel to the mat, working with the breath. So not holding the breath. Beautiful. Replace the hand, replace the knee. Excellent. Transition to the opposite side. So we'll start with left arm forward. You might want to check that when you're on this supporting arm, you've got the elbow soft. Initially, just slide the right foot back, toe turned under. And if you can't keep your balance when we lift the leg, just come back to this supported posture. So in an ideal world, the hips and the shoulders will remain square here. What often happens is you roll your weight onto the bent knee. which in effect lifts the opposite hip. So try to remain equal weight. Beautiful. Replace the hand, replace the knee. Wonderful. I'm going to bring you back down onto your forearms. Slide the feet back, lower down. Again, we're just going to keep the chest lifted into the Sphinx pose. And now we're simply going to bring the right heel in towards the bottom. Replace that foot to the floor. Bring the left heel in. Lovely. Then replace that foot to the floor. We're lowering down. So I'm going to suggest that we bring the left arm underneath the forehead. Position the forehead on top of the back of the hand. Bring the right heel in again. Then take hold of the right foot. Now, perfection here would be taking hold somewhere in front of the ankle. What you want to avoid here is pulling the heel out. So try to stack the heel over the right sit bone. And then we're just working with the breath to toggle the heel a little closer towards the bottom. So we want to keep the lower back really quiet so that we're finding that opening through the front of the thigh into the hip flexor. Replace that right foot to the floor. Transition to the opposite side. So right arm supporting, left heel in. If you can't quite reach the foot, it's perfectly okay to take hold of the hem of your leggings, to use a strap. Again, try to notice that balance in the body. So we don't want to be rolling onto the hip. We want to keep the hips square to the mat. Try a gentle tilt of the hips towards the floor, lengthening through the thighs. Beautiful. Then replace that foot to the mat. Just take a moment there. So on the next exhalation, this time with the arms, so not having the arms on the floor, let's have the forehead to the mat. Bring both heels in. Reach for both ankles. Now 9 times out of 10 we'll pull the feet apart, so bring the heels together. Push down onto the thighs. Inhale to lift the chest. Beautiful. Then when you're ready, release. Soften the feet to the floor. Take a moment. There's a few fed up faces going, what? I thought it was meant to be easy tonight. Nice. You're going to come back up to an all fours position. So you can, for a moment, if you wish, watch, and I shall demonstrate, and then you can repeat. I find it hard to watch you while I'm doing it. So I'll start with my right leg so that I can demonstrate this. So like we did before, we're going to lift the right heel. We're going to bring the hand to the outside of the ankle, and we're going to draw that heel in towards the bottom. Sorry, I lost my balance there. I find it hard to talk and do. So get into that position first. So we're just doing it now with a little bit of gravity, a little bit of a challenge for you tonight. Beautiful. So keep the hips square and the shoulders square. If you allow that left hip to dip to the floor, that's going to make the balance a little harder. Beautiful. Replace that knee. Let's try it on the other side. It's blooming hard when it's same side, isn't it? Because your whole body's just going to topple over. Will you be very cross at me when I say that I'm just proving a point here? The more appropriate way to do that posture is to have the right palm on the floor, lift the right thigh, bring the left hand to the right ankle, and then do the opposite. See how much easier that is. Hips square, shoulders square, elbows soft, almost acting like a shock absorber. Keeping the sternum lifted, the shoulder blades drawn together. Replace that foot to the floor, switch over, do the same on the opposite side. Sometimes it's getting hold of the foot that's the hard bit. Do you feel like you're doing twister? Hip square, shoulder square, shock absorber in the elbows. Try not to hold the breath. Then replace that foot to the floor. Excellent work. Second set, so much easier. Turn both toes under. Draw the tummy button in, roll up through the spine. Glance towards the thighs so that the chin is tucked under. Then rather than curving the spine the opposite way, we'll once more just come to that neutral spine position. So I'm going to keep the toes turned under, pressing the sit bones back, little movement here, lifting the knees from the mat but pushing the heels back. So the knees remain bent, and we're coming into a 3/4 downward dog. Keep pressing the sit bones to the back of the room. So it's almost as if you're doing a downward dog with your upper body, just not with your lower body. Antonia, bend those knees. She's like, no, that means I have to work a bit harder. Beautiful. Then lower down. Replace the knees, the shins, sit back onto the heels. Let's position the palms, one fist on top of the other, and bring the forehead to rest here. So you're just creating a little bit of support. Soften the shoulders, soften the jaw, soften the lower back. Let's take this up a notch. So repositioning the hands shoulder width apart, bringing the shoulders now above the wrists, elbows remain soft, turning the toes under, pushing the sit bones back, lifting both knees, attempting to pull the heels towards the floor, lifting the tailbone. So we're still in a bent knee downward facing dog, but we're making sure, most importantly, that we're taking the weight away from the wrists. Abby, you might find this more comfortable to come down onto the forearms and do this as a dolphin pose. Bend the right knee, press the left heel to the floor. Do the opposite, so left knee bent, right heel to the floor, and just transition from one leg to another, slowly starting to work a little bit of length into the back of the calf, opening the back of the knee. Let's lift the tailbone, so both heels lift, then on and out breath, press the heels to the floor, push the sit bones back, rest the ears between the upper arm, inhaling for 4, 3, 2, and 1, exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One further inhalation for 4. Now take your time on the out breath to bend the knees, sit back on the heels, rest the wrists by bringing the hands either side of the ankles. The forehead can either come all the way to the mat, or if you're more comfortable, just rest the upper body on the thighs, let the head hang free. Little rotation with the wrists. You're holding yourself up for quite some time there. Work our way back up into the all fours position again. Make sure the knees are hip width distance apart. They often come together when being in child's pose. Elbows are soft, turn both toes under. Exhale, roll up through the spine, nodding the chin to the chest, that gorgeous cat stretch once more. Release into a neutral spine position. So one more time, I'm going to keep the toes turned under. We're pressing back again to find a downward facing dog posture, lifting the sit bones, pushing the sit bones to the back of the room. Let's really aim to get one heel to the floor as we lift the opposite foot, drawing a diagonal line from the back of the heel all the way down through the spine to the opposite wrist. We shouldn't feel like we're holding weight on one side more than the other. So keep pushing through the back of the foot, then replace that right foot to the floor. Switch over to the opposite leg. So if you're feeling this hard on the shoulders, on the wrists, on the elbows, you need to take your weight further back. The legs can take it, the upper body can't. On the out breath, lower the heel. On the in breath, lift the tailbone, lengthen through that spine, gorgeous. Then again on the next slow exhalation, lower down, bring yourself back into a child's pose. Because we were resting on one wrist then the other, let's remobilize the wrists again, drawing those little circles. Then bring your hands forward, stacking one palm on top of the other. And we'll simply repeat that action of rolling through the forehead, bringing one ear parallel to the floor, then the other. Beautiful. I'm not going to push my luck. I was going to take you into pigeon pose, but I think you might actually just switch off on me. I can just see a whole load of people going unplug and say, yeah, that's enough for tonight. Let's come from our all fours position then onto a standing posture. So a little bit of dynamism now. We've been a little bit easy-ozy on our mats. Let's jump the feet forward. Garland pose. Two options for those of us who are hobbits and get our heels on the floor. Very easy. For most of us, heels are off the floor. Let's see if we can get our balance by resting on the balls of the feet, setting that plumb line from the back of the head to the tailbone. It might be that bringing the hands to an Anjali Mudra in front of the heart helps you here. Beautiful. You can really test your balance by pushing the left heel to the mat. Oh, that's hard. Bringing it back up, then bringing the right heel to the mat. Oh, articulating those ankles is key. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Then on that extended count of 6 exhalation, engage the core. Push into the balls of the feet, lift up. Keep up on the heels. Keep up on the balls of the feet, sorry, not the heels. So keep the heels lifted, keep the heels lifted. Press down the right heel, press down the left heel. That's better. Bring the hands either side of the hips. Little bit of a shake it all out. Take the feet hip width distance apart. I taught aerobics in the 90s, so that's my excuse for me thinking that my hips are the size of a bus. I will adjust. Insides of the feet parallel. So we're just a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, but let's avoid toes turned out. Let's have them facing forward. Soften the knees, hands on the hips. As you exhale, hinge forward. So we're going to make this a 90-degree angle. Because we've positioned the heels a little wider than the hips, this isn't going to be too hard on the hamstrings. Quite gentle. Just try to find that, again, straight line from the back of the head to the tailbone. So we shouldn't be here. We should be nicely lengthened. Wrap the hands around the elbows. Think about the hinge once more. That diagonal line from the back of the head to the tailbone. Work with the out breath to create space between the belly and the thighs. And with every exhalation, deepening a little further into this fold. Perhaps now beginning to feel a little bit more of a stretch into the back of the hamstrings. Tucking the chin under so that you're not working that neck too hard. Bring the hands back onto the thighs. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. So rather than rolling up through the spine, which is a typical Pilates move, I want you to really think about dynamically coming out of this fold. So engage the core, push into the thighs. One action, lift the shoulders. Come up to standing. Good. Shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. As you exhale, let them go. Shrug the shoulders up. Roll the shoulders back and down. Some of you are standing here as if you're superheroes. Let's bring the feet back together, insides of the feet parallel, into your mountain pose. Turning the palms towards the front of the room. Beautiful. So for now, really simple. Just close the eyes. Tune into your breath. And bring the hands to an Anjali Mudra in front of the heart. Just for now, keep the eyes closed. I just want you to notice the amount of natural movement in your body. Every time you change position, it slightly alters the balance. Focus on the breath, in for 4. Out to a count of 6. Keep those eyes closed on the next inhalation for 4. Lengthen the arms up overhead to create a Y shape, pressing through the fingertips, keeping the eyes closed just to maintain that little bit of balance, that little challenge. Exhaling for 6. Blink the eyes open. Take hold of the left hand with the left wrist with the right hand. On an inhalation for 4, let's lengthen. On an exhalation for 6, let's ease over the midline of the body. So what we're avoiding here is any leaning forward or any of the pushing of the hips forward. You want to feel all that action come from the side of the waist through the side of the rib cage. Inhale for 4, back to center. Opposite hand to opposite wrist. Exhale for 6 to the opposite side. Lengthen on the inhale. Deepen the opening on the exhale. Then inhale, lift. Come back to center. Take the hand off the wrist. Reposition the hands on the hips. So now we're bringing the feet a tiny bit closer together. Remember, we're a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. We're going to repeat that angled bend. So bringing the shoulders parallel to the floor, pressing the sit bones to the back of the room. So that little bit of downward facing dog action we had earlier has helped to prepare the back of the thighs a little more. But you notice that this is a little bit more challenging than that previous posture. Keep the hand on the left hip as you extend the right arm forward. Again, positioning the ear inside the upper arm, pressing through the fingertips of the right hand, pushing both sit bones towards the back of the room. So imagine that you're being lengthened here. Bring that right hand back to the hip. Extend the left arm forward. So as we're lengthening through the left wrist, we're pressing the sit bones towards the back of the room. So we're kind of deepening that stretch. Let's keep that left arm extended forward. Bring the right arm to meet it. Press through the fingertips, push the sit bones back. This is almost like being stretched on a rack. Can we turn the thumbs up towards the ceiling so that the palms are facing one another? Good. A little bit more tension as we push, push, push. Press, press, press. Then widen the arms, making a T shape so that the wrists are in line with the thumbs. Exhale, draw the tummy button in. Inhale, unhinge, lifting up, one dynamic action. Replacing the hands either side of the hips. Beautiful work. Do you think you have earned the right to lie down on the floor? There's a couple of you who are just like, if you don't lie me down soon, I'm just going to fall down. Have a little lie down. None of you blatantly wear the t-shirt, but I do know that you're just here for the Shavasana. I have come across that before. Guilty as charged. So as you come to your Shavasana position, remember Shavasana, literal translation, is corpse pose. So make like a corpse. And I want you to really tune into what your body needs. So it might be that lengthening your legs today just doesn't feel as supportive as perhaps allowing a little bend in the knees, so that you can keep that little gap under the small of the back. You might want to take the feet a little wider apart. It's always a good idea to keep the hands equal distance from the midline of the body. And notice without judgment whether you've chosen to turn the palms up towards the ceiling in a gesture of receptivity, or if you perhaps feel the need to be grounded, turning the palms to the floor, reconnecting you with the earth. Now, once more, I invite you to tune into the breath. That action of breathing in and down, so that we're not holding the breath in the top third of the lungs. As we inhale, we want to fill the lungs and the rib cage fully. As we exhale, emptying the lungs, softening the rib cage, bringing the weight of your bones to rest into the earth. With every inhalation, expanding and widening to fill the space that surrounds you. With every exhalation, a sense of letting go of any tension that your body may be holding on to. Letting go of anything that doesn't serve you. If it helps, you might want to make your breath a little noisier. Breathing out on an extended sigh. That inhalation, cooling the body down, revitalizing, re-energizing. Now tuning into the sound closest to you, the sound of your breath. A few moments of silence from me. As you allow your focus to drift inward. Sending the breath to the parts of the body that need it most. Shanti. Your whole body, soft, heavy, completely released. The mind quiet. As you observe the union of the body and the breath. Feel the weight of your bones against the floor. Notice the cool air in the room against your face, your hands, and your feet. Begin now to return sensation to the physical body, wiggling fingers and toes, wriggling the jaw and the nose. You might wish to take a long stretch through the body. It might feel more comfortable for you to hug the knees to the chest. Begin to return sensation. Reawakening. Bringing your awareness back to your space within this room. Taking your time to roll to one side. Pausing there to blink the eyes open. And when you're ready, return to a comfortable, seated position. Remember your choice if that's cross-legged or wide-legged. Bring your hands to an Anjali Mudra. Touch to the head for kind thoughts, to the lips for kind words, and to the heart for kind intentions. The light in me honours the light in you. Namaste. Good work, everyone. Well done for gifting yourself that hour of calm